And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at Victor's in Hollywood off of Bronson Avenue. Welcome to the 10 Count in our panel. I'm Steve Kim from UCN Live. We have Dave Smith, radio personality, and the institution from the Sentinel, Ken Miller, and my old running mate from Max Boxing, now the editor-in-chief of Ring TV, Doug Fischer. Guys, I don't know what your pound-for-pound lists are, but I'm going to say it right now. Dan Goossen has to be top 3.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This guy is 3-0 against Andre Ward. Just yesterday, as we're taping this, his other suit got thrown out. All right, I'm not the biggest fan of Andre Ward, but I know he has to make a living. Doug, it's time for him to just drop the legal nonsense and actually get back to work.
That's what I think. I think he's being stubborn, and I'm not saying that he has zero case against Dan Goossen. I personally like Dan Goossen.
The courts have done that for us, though.
Yeah, I personally, I like Goossen, but I know, you know, listen, all promoters are a little bit sketchy, and it's natural for a fighter and a promoter to have sort of like marriage-type squabbles and want to get away from each other. But the fact of the matter is, Andre Ward cannot get away from Dan Goossen, and I think he's past the point of damaging his career. Because the way it is with boxing fans, out of sight, out of mind. And the longer he stays out of the ring, being a commentator on HBO, that's not enough. That's not enough to keep him in the consciousness and to hold interest with hardcore fans and certainly with casual fans. If a casual fan ever knew who Andre Ward was, he or she has forgotten. Yeah, well, he or she has forgotten about it. And we haven't seen him since last November against Edwin Rodriguez. And he didn't set the world on fire.
Watching Andre Ward, in my opinion, in a boxing ring is like watching a kid walk up to a chalkboard with long fingernails and just start scraping.
Wow!
It's brutal.
Ken, I never knew you were that. You're at my level of not wanting to watch this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's effective, but it's not entertaining.
But here's the thing. I think Ward does appeal to some fans out there. He can appeal to more fans the more he fights, the more he goes out there. Because some fans, they don't care what your style is. They want to see that guy who is that much better than everyone else. And they like to get behind an undefeated American fighter and say, hey,
you're right,
the best guy in the world. That's true.
Well, no, wait a minute. Wait, Dave, you appreciate pure boxing as much as anyone I know.
Really?
No, there's no doubt about it. I mean, every time a Canelo or Lara fights, he always says the boxer won. So, even you, Dave, have you ever been entertained by an Andre Ward fight?
No, you know, he's a hell of a fighter. He's got skills, but I'm with you, Ken, you guys. He's a boring fighter. He won the Super 6, and you made a good point, Doug, about his problem. Nobody knows who he is, the casual fan, and sitting out of the ring and doing all these lawsuits only hurts him. He's got to get in there, and he's got to fight. He's signed up with Dan through 2016?
Yeah, and here's
bite the bullet.
Bite the bullet
and then say goodbye.
Take as many fights as you can get. Try to get on the network, build a name for yourself, and then if you don't, then leave him there.
You want to get back at Dan? Then be a big pain in the ass with every fight. Like, try not to fight the toughest guy out there, stink it out even more, and then take on the big fights as soon as you are legally free.
And when you're a free agent,
of Goossen.
Then you
exactly. Then you fight the Gennady Golovkins or
He'd
whoever.
really lose to Dan Goossen because he'd get sued.
Dan's suing him for $10 million for libel now,
that could be the knockout. He's won. Dan has won.
You think he can win this $10 million?
Well, Dan has won unanimous decisions. The defamation, if he wins that one, that's the knockout.
Now, is this a ploy that he'll drop this as soon as Andre drops all his stuff and they'll go through 2000?
Yeah, he would have to drop that.
But you know what I knew Dan was bringing loaded gloves? When he hired Bertram Fields, I said, oh, this guy's not playing. This guy is not, because that's the same guy that has Oscar De La Hoya, and we'll get to that later. But the other issue that I have with Andre Ward is, there was a couple years ago, everyone thought he was this good, wholesome Christian guy. He represents everything that's right about boxing. Doug, I've said this to you before. This guy's unlikable. He really is.
He doesn't have a warm personality.
And now he's coming off as a religious zealot because every time he loses a case, his hashtag on Twitter is #blessed. How blessed are you? If you're blessed, what's Dan Goossen?
Well,
his lawyer's blessed.
It's like people in the hood. If you have to say that you're blessed, if every time, I'm concerned about
you're kind of troubled.
How you doing today? Oh, I'm blessed. Really?
I think there's another issue with Andre Ward. He's not getting any younger. I mean, none of us are. But he's 31, 32 years old. But I really think he's delusional.
Prime is right now, Steve.
I really think he's delusional. And I think he has to understand one thing. The Super 6 was a great platform to get to superstardom. You got to the doorstep. He knocked on the door. He didn't get through. And the other example I would use is out of sight, out of mind, as you said. Gennady Golovkin is not exactly fighting murderer's row, guys, but he's active. And look at the amount of buzz he's creating every time he just trots himself out there.
Create
People
momentum.
care. Right.
Now imagine if Andre Ward was fighting 3 and 4 times a year, even if you're someone who doesn't like him. Just the fact, the build-up before, during, and after every fight, you gain momentum. Even if people hate him, it's still people. Yeah, but even if you love to hate him, just like Mayweather has proved, or any fighter in the past, you know, going back to Hector Camacho Sr. or even Muhammad Ali, guys, even if people hate him, if you're out there, people are gonna flock to you.
You cannot put Andre Ward and Floyd.
I agree.
I mean,
Andre Ward. Floyd has a showman personality that Andre doesn't have.
Andre Ward couldn't draw flies to an outhouse. You know, I mean,
or Ontario turned out last
But
month.
guys, you don't think if he was fighting like 3 times a year, you don't think he could build a bigger audience on HBO?
Doug, let me just say
I
this.
think he would.
Doug, here's the thing that I've always did not like about Andre Ward. And it's like, to me, it just irks my nerve, as Cool Mo D once said. He actually, him and his Virgil Hunter, his trainer, have said, we don't care about the fans. We don't care if you're not entertained. We're here to do our job and just win. If you don't like it, that's your problem. Guys, let me just say this. If you went to a restaurant that says, we don't care if you like our food and we give you salmonella, would you dare go to that restaurant ever again?
No, he's kind of like the Dave Chappelle of boxing, you're saying, right? Where
no, Dave Chappelle's entertaining.
But Chappelle, when he was about ready to break out and make that big money, we never saw him again. He disappeared. That's kind of like Andre Ward.
No, but
he wins the Super 6 and we haven't seen him again.
No, but there's a difference. We miss Dave Chappelle. We don't miss Andre Ward. That's the whole issue. We don't miss this guy.
But you win the Super 6 and then you disappear, like the point you made?
Right.
And
what everyone needs to remember, the Super 6 was started 5 years ago.
Yeah, no one even remembers there was a Super 6. Now they think it's a 6-pack.
This is the what have you done for me lately sport.
Yeah.
And that's just life. That's the way it is.